will be on the general election ballot despite an attempt to block her candidacy by an ally of current Mayor Tiffany Henyard, who is
the mayoral candidate being challenged. The
Tiffany Henyard, the self-proclaimed super mayor of Dalton, has finally turned herself in after a dramatic FBI raid uncovered years of deep-rooted corruption. The raid revealed that Henyard, once seen as a charismatic leader of Dalton, had been living a lavish lifestyle funded by taxpayer dollars. While the town itself spiraled into financial ruin under Henyard's administration, Dalton faced a staggering $36 million deficit, a result of her reckless financial mismanagement. As the town's resources drained away, residents were left struggling, while Henyard's extravagant lifestyle continued unabated. Now, with 22 federal charges looming, including misappropriation of funds and concealing millions of taxpayer dollars, she faces up to 25 years in prison. The investigation into Henyard began months ago when subpoenas and rumors of corruption started circulating. What followed was a shocking revelation of financial negligence that painted a grim picture of how Henyard abused her power. One of the most glaring instances of this occurred in September 2023, when Henyard embarked on a shopping spree costing over $7,700, spending taxpayer funds at stores such as Target, Walgreens, and Wayfair. This was just one of many excessive spending sprees. Henyard was also known to opt for premium travel experiences, frequently upgrading to lavish flights and bringing along her personal hair and makeup team, expenses that were again covered by the town's budget. While Henyard indulged in these luxuries, Dalton's financial health deteriorated at an alarming rate. In a single year, she drained a $5.6 million surplus, pushing the town closer to bankruptcy. Travel expenses alone amounted to over $112,000, further exacerbating Dalton's fragile finances. But perhaps the most shocking abuse of power came in the form of a $561,000 payment made for the paving of Henyard's mother's driveway, an amount siphoned from the town's budget while Dalton was on the brink of financial collapse. Even more troubling was Henyard's use of Dalton's police force. The officers tasked with protecting the community were repurposed as her personal security detail. Officers who should have been patrolling the streets were instead running errands for Henyard, further destabilizing the town and leaving crime unchecked. Henyard's downfall began when a former police chief, unable to stand by any longer, blew the whistle on her misconduct. The chief revealed the extent of Henyard's financial mismanagement, exposing her abuse of taxpayer money for personal gain. With this revelation, the public's trust in Henyard, once solid, crumbled, and the town was left to pick up the pieces of its shattered finances amid the growing public outrage. One of the most scandalous incidents came when Henyard hosted an extravagant $555,000 party for town, even after her credit card privileges had been revoked. The event, which was designed to boost her public image, featured performances by artists like Wyclef Jean and Jay Holiday, who were paid $30,000 and $20,000 respectively for 30-minute sets. On top of this, Henyard spent another $36,000 on sound systems, staff, equipment, and even bouncy houses, all funded by taxpayer money. For an event that only attracted 70 attendees, this brazen misuse of public funds sparked an outcry, with residents demanding justice for financial ruin Henyard had left in her wake. Citizens like Jennifer Roberts and former trustee Valeria Stubbs voiced their frustrations over Henyard's extravagant spending and self-promotion, especially given the dire financial state of the town. These events seemed to underscore a growing sense that Henyard's administration had completely disregarded fiscal responsibility, but the real twist came when Henyard's former ally, Carmen Carlisle, stepped forward as a whistleblower. After witnessing the blatant misuse of Dalton's funds for over 2 years, Carlisle decided to provide federal authorities with a damning stack of receipts, revealing the true extent of Henyard's corruption. Her testimony shed new light on Henyard's alleged efforts to promote herself at the public's expense, adding fuel to the already fiery public outrage. Carlisle's revelations were a game-changer, providing federal investigators with the evidence they needed to move forward with a comprehensive probe into Henyard's financial dealings. The investigation quickly expanded to include scrutiny of Henyard's personal ventures and political ties, and it became clear that her corruption might have extended beyond just her actions as mayor. The FBI now had a far-reaching investigation on its hands, examining everyone who may have played a role in the alleged corruption, including political allies and business connections. As the investigation deepened, Henyard's defiant behavior only intensified. Despite the mounting evidence against her, she continued to carry out her duties as mayor, maintaining an image of business as usual. This growing disconnect between her lavish lifestyle and the economic struggles of Dalton's residents only fueled public anger and distrust. Meanwhile, the FBI ramped up its investigation, reportedly employing advanced surveillance techniques to monitor Henyard's actions and those of her political allies. Rumors swirled that several individuals close to Henyard could soon face similar scrutiny, and the residents of Dalton, long suffering from the financial mismanagement of their town, now found themselves grappling with the possibility that many of the people they once trusted might have been complicit in her schemes. It wasn't long before Henyard made a stunning move that caught the attention of the entire community. In a dramatic turn of events, she voluntarily surrendered to the FBI, signaling a major shift in the investigation. For someone once seen as untouchable, this surrender marked a significant moment in the ongoing scandal. It sent shockwaves through the town, leaving residents to wonder what would happen next to the people of Dalton. Henyard's downfall has been a bitter pill to swallow. The town, once filled with hope and promise, now lies in ruins. With a $36 million deficit, a fractured community, and a devastated public trust, the road to recovery seems long and uncertain. As Henyard faces the legal consequences of her actions, the citizens of Dalton must work to rebuild what's been destroyed. While the FBI continues to investigate the full extent of the corruption that has plagued their town, the saga of Tiffany Henyard's rise and fall serves as a cautionary tale about the dangers of unchecked power and the devastating impact of corruption on local governments. It underscores how a single individual's greed can unravel the lives of countless people, and how the consequences of such actions can echo through communities for years to come as the investigation continues and more details are revealed. The people of Dalton are left grappling with the aftermath of Henyard's corrupt reign, wondering what the future holds for their once thriving town. For many, Henyard's name has become synonymous with betrayal, and the journey to justice feels like a long overdue reckoning for the devastation she has wrought. With the FBI closely monitoring her every move, the full scale of Henyard's financial mismanagement is expected to unfold in the coming months, potentially bringing far-reaching consequences not only for her, but for those who enabled her rise to power despite the growing storm of controversy surrounding her. Just when it seemed that Tiffany Henyard might escape the consequences of her actions, she made a dramatic and unexpected decision, surrendering to federal authorities. This abrupt move stunned the residents of Dalton, leaving them to wonder why Henyard, who had clung so tightly to her opulent lifestyle for so long, would suddenly abandon it and step into federal custody. Many believe her surrender could be part of a strategic maneuver, perhaps an attempt to strike a deal with federal prosecutors in exchange for leniency. In this scenario, she might offer to expose others involved in her alleged schemes, leading some to speculate that her sudden shift signals the beginning of the end of the scandal and a possible path to Justice Henyard, once seen as untouchable, now faces the very real prospect of legal consequences. Her decision to surrender marks a personal turning point, but also signals a dramatic shift in Dalton's relationship with its local government. The once invincible mayor's image has been shattered, and her voluntary surrender has given the public a glimmer of hope that justice might finally be served as Henyard faces federal charges. The fallout from her actions continues to reverberate throughout Dalton. The town, already struggling with a crippling financial crisis, now must grapple with the staggering costs of her alleged corruption and the deepening distrust in their leadership. The residents of Dalton are left to pick up the pieces, wondering how the town arrived at this point and what it will take to rebuild its shattered financial reputation. Henyard's rise and fall have become a cautionary tale about corruption, excess, and betrayal of public trust. Once a community proud of its leadership, Dalton now finds itself reeling from the devastating consequences of unchecked power and greed. With the future uncertain, the people of Dalton are left to rebuild not only their finances, but also their faith in the system that failed them. They hope that, despite the slow-moving wheels of justice, there will be a reckoning for Henyard's actions. Her sudden surrender may mark the first step in Dalton's long road to recovery, but the damage caused by her corruption will take much longer to heal. As federal investigators continue their work, Dalton's residents can only wait and hope that those responsible for the scandal will be held accountable, and that the town can begin the difficult process of restoring its financial stability and faith in local leadership. Henyard's downfall is far from over, but for the people of Dalton, the possibility of justice, however delayed, brings a glimmer of hope amidst the wreckage of their community. The rise and fall of Tiffany Henyard is not just a local scandal. It is an unfolding story with far-reaching consequences. Federal authorities are piecing together the full extent of the alleged corruption, and as more details emerge, it is becoming clear that the investigation will continue to expose the depths of the town's financial mismanagement. With the testimony of Carmen Carlisle, a whistleblower who turned over crucial evidence, the once impregnable web of corruption is beginning to unravel. The people of Dalton are left hoping that justice will finally be served, and that they will be able to rebuild from the wreckage left by Henyard's reckless spending and self-serving behavior. In the end, Henyard's scandal serves as a stark reminder of the dangers of unchecked power and the devastating effect of corruption on a community. It underscores a critical need for accountability and leadership, and the restoration of public trust. The downfall of Tiffany Henyard has become a powerful symbol of the dangers of unchecked power and the devastating consequences of corruption, leaving Dalton grappling with the fallout of her actions. Once a figure of wealth and authority, Henyard lived a life of luxury funded by taxpayer dollars, traveling in first-class comfort, enjoying personal makeup artists, and indulging in an opulent lifestyle, all while the needs of Dalton's community went unmet. Now, she finds herself in a stark jail cell, her once glamorous image shattered, her finances in ruins, and her future uncertain. Reports have surfaced that Henyard can no longer afford to pay her legal bills, leading her lawyer to abandon her case, a move that signals the collapse of her empire. Her rise to power, clouded by controversy and driven by a web of influence and financial mismanagement, was not built to serve the people who elected her, but to benefit herself. Over the years, Henyard allegedly abused her position, with mounting evidence of her misuse of public funds and opaque financial dealings within her administration. As the investigation into her actions continues, the residents of Dalton are left to reckon with the lasting damage caused by her reckless decisions. Henyard's eventual surrender to federal authorities, while a glimmer of hope for accountability, marks only the beginning of a long and difficult journey to restore trust in Dalton's government and rebuild the town. Her history of financial recklessness and self-serving behavior has left the town in a dire financial situation. Dalton is reportedly nearly $20 million in debt, with millions of dollars unaccounted for, and the once thriving community is now reeling from years of corruption and mismanagement. Its residents are left to pick up the pieces of their fractured government and broken economy in an unprecedented move to salvage the town. Dalton hired former Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot at a hefty rate of $400 per hour to help clean up the mess Henyard created. This step underscores the gravity of the situation, highlighting the monumental task of recovering from the financial disaster Henyard's administration left behind. As the investigation into Henyard's actions unfolds, Dalton's residents are left wondering how long it will take to rebuild their reputation and restore their financial health. The betrayal they feel, having once placed their trust in Henyard, is profound. The consequences of her greed and misuse of public funds are undeniable. In this time of uncertainty, the people of Dalton are left searching for answers. They hope that the truth will come to light, and that those responsible for the town's downfall will be held accountable. Henyard's scandal may have shattered the town's faith in its leadership, but it also presents an opportunity for change. The ongoing investigation and potential for further revelations offer the resident of Dalton the chance to finally see justice served and the possibility to rebuild a community devastated by corruption. Henyard's downfall may be the beginning of a long and painful recovery for Dalton, but it also offers a chance to heal, rebuild, and restore the integrity of its government. As federal authorities continue to follow the trail of evidence, the people of Dalton are left to wonder if their town can ever recover from the damage caused by one woman's reckless pursuit of power, or if the consequences of her actions will linger for years to come. The fate of Dalton and the future of its leadership remain uncertain, but one thing is clear. Henyard's scandal has left an indelible mark on the town, one that will likely take years to erase. The state of Dalton's finances paints a grim picture, illustrating just how far the town had fallen under Henyard's leadership. The road to recovery will be long and fraught with challenges as the people of Dalton try to rebuild both their finances and their trust in local leadership. Among Tiffany Henyard's most egregious acts was a reported spending of $440,000 in a single day on Amazon, a glaring example of her unchecked financial mismanagement, which has now placed the town of Dalton under both federal and state scrutiny. As the town's financial situation spiraled out of control, the Illinois state controller had no choice but to intervene, halting desperately needed payments of $135,000 to the town's residents. This move has been a crippling blow, leaving the people struggling to see a way forward even after Henyard's resignation and subsequent surrender to the federal authorities. The financial ruin she left behind continues to cast a long shadow over Dalton, making it clear that recovery will not be swift. But the damage did not end with financial destruction. Former employees of Henyard's administration have come forward with their own damning allegations, including lawsuits claiming wrongful termination for refusing to participate in dubious schemes. One such employee, identified as Trishbant, is now suing Henyard, further compounding the legal and ethical challenges she faces. These lawsuits stem not only from Henyard's financial scandals, but also from her abusive leadership style, which created a toxic and oppressive environment for those working under her. Beyond financial mismanagement, Henyard's administration has been tainted by disturbing allegations of sexual impropriety during city visits, including claims of sexual assault against staff members and accusations of intimidation against those who dared to oppose her. These revelations have completely decimated her previously polished image, replacing it with a portrait of an administration steeped in corruption, abuse of power, and exploitation. The public's outrage only deepens as these new allegations come to light, leaving Dalton residents shaken and disgusted by the woman they once trusted to lead them. For the people of Dalton, seeing Henyard in handcuffs has been a moment of relief, representing a step toward reclaiming their town from what many have referred to as an era of doom. However, Henyard's surrender has raised as many questions as it has answered. Many speculate that her decision to turn herself in may be part of a larger strategy, perhaps an attempt to manipulate the system in her favor. Some believe she may be negotiating for a settlement or even trying to shield others involved in her schemes. Her continued presence as mayor, despite the mounting criminal charges against her, has raised serious concerns about the integrity of the legal system and the power dynamics at play. The fact that Henyard remained in office despite overwhelming evidence against her suggests that the fight for accountability is far from over. Her defiance and apparent unwillingness to relinquish her position as mayor have only fueled suspicions that she might be attempting to stall justice, using her power to delay the inevitable reckoning. As the FBI continues its investigation, it remains unclear whether Henyard's voluntary surrender will result in